Crypto Kids, the price of Bitcoin is attempting to break above critical line of resistance. This line started forming prematurely when Bitcoin topped out at $126,000 in October of 2025. Little did people know, this top would have resulted in a trend which would be diagonally bearish for many, many months. It got confirmed in mid-January when Bitcoin was at its peak within the bear flag pattern at 97, where you got rejected from the blue line, and also the bull and bear market support bands. This led to about a 33% crash downwards. And today we're sitting in a very similar area. Bitcoin is operating within a bear flag. We're at the highest point in the bear flag. We are currently facing resistance from both the blue line and the bull and bear market supports. The easy thing for Bitcoin to do would be to crash, would it not? Is that what I think is going to happen though? You will find out in today's update video. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Crypto Kid. I've been in the industry for the past 6 years, and we've been sharing our thoughts and analysis on the markets for the past 4.5 years. If you enjoy these daily videos, we're almost at 1,000 videos here on this channel, then do please destroy the like button, because we make our updates regardless of bull market, bear market, and even though that prices are relatively low and people are not so interested in watching anymore, we wanted to come up with a brand new format additionally to our daily analysis, and it's called the Crypto Late Night Show, and it's to keep you entertained when times are tough. I interviewed my good friend Crypto Rover. It's a Tonight Show style, but for crypto, nobody has done it before. So we went into Rover's background, his Bitcoin prediction. There's a monologue where I basically joke around with the things that are happening in the industry. And then we play a game called Redacted Headlines, where Rover tries to guess some of the quotes, the words from the quotes said by famous people. And finally, I do a sketch on STRC. This you should definitely watch. I'll put a card at the top right-hand section. Make sure to go and see it after you're done with this video, and leave your comment on what you thought about it and which guests you would like to see next on Crypto Late Night Show. Okay, with that said, let's commence with Bitcoin. Firstly, do we FOMO here, or am I FOMOing here? That's the question. That's the right question to ask. Not yet. I'm getting more excited. I can't lie, because Bitcoin has, unlike previous times, breached above the blue line of resistance. This candle closes in 1 hour 38 minutes, and I'm pretty positive that we will end up closing it bullishly. But for me, we're not out of the woods yet until the bear flag is invalidated, and until the bull and bear market support band is completely flipped from resistance to support. So at the moment, we're looking at 78.7. If we want to be more conservative, now $79,000. The line of resistance started at 76, but as it takes Bitcoin more time to break above resistance and it consolidates, obviously that line moves up. And now we're sitting at 79. So 79 needs to be broken above, ideally with 2 daily confirmations, for me to anticipate 85. I think we will go to 85 if that happens. We will create a lower high, maintaining the bearish trend, and then getting a rejection, and ultimately coming back to sweep the 60Ks one more towards Q4 of this year. That's my expectation if Bitcoin manages to break above resistance. If we don't, then it would be down before having that pump. You may be saying, CryptoKid, why do you think that Bitcoin is going to sweep the 60s? Well, that's just what happens in every single cycle according to the 4-year halving cycles. Many people made the mistake of assuming the 4-year cycles were over, so people started predicting super cycle at the top of the bull market. But what happened? Bitcoin followed the 4-year cycles. Exactly. So I would be a fool to not still base my assumptions on the 4-year cycles until or if the 4-year cycles get invalidated. As soon as it's invalidated, I will say, okay, fine. I'm going to be pragmatic and I'm going to adapt. But, you know, we're still following along pretty well, and it would be foolish of me to abandon it when Bitcoin has followed it for the past 4 cycles almost identically. I mean, in the overall macro structure. So this is why I think Q4 will be the ultimate bottom. But if Bitcoin manages to break above 79, I wouldn't be surprised, and I would be anticipating a move towards $85,000. At 85, we have the Bitcoin CME gap. So this was some analysis we conducted over on the Moonshow live stream. The CME gap open, we have a couple left. So there is one up at 83.7, which translates to around 85K on the spot price. Then you have two open to the downside, and they are 69,000 and $67,500. So imagine if Bitcoin was to break above the bear flag, close the CME gap, get everybody excited, and then vomit to the downside. That would be horrendous. But you need to understand, the market tends to do the most damaging moves. Unfortunately, it's very sad, but the market tends to do what is most damaging. And in my opinion, breaking above the bear flag resistance, getting everybody bullish, everybody calling for super cycle, resetting the fear and greed index from fear to neutral or towards greed, and then boom, capitulation. That would be the most damaging, and that's how market makers make the most amount of money. Hence, that's, in my opinion, the most probable outcome that we could expect. So keep your eye on this scenario. I think it could be one that ends up playing out. That is a summary for my Bitcoin technical analysis. Crude oil is sitting at $91. Just very quickly, President Trump, most importantly, President Trump has decided to extend the ceasefire agreement indefinitely until Iran comes up with a proposal that is amicable to sort of accept and come to an agreement with America. That is good news. I mean, it's good news. But crude oil is still pumping because not because of the ceasefire extending. That may feel adversarial to you. If the ceasefire extended, then why is crude oil pumping? You may think it's a good thought to have. It's because of the blockade. So until there is a deal, which is still a question mark on if it will ever happen, but there is going to be a continuous blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. If the Strait of Hormuz is continuously blocked for an indefinite amount of time, where we don't know exactly when the agreement is going to kick in, then that means less crude oil transports for a longer period, which results in higher crude oil prices, and that results in higher inflation. So this is why crude oil is going up, not because of geopolitical risk increasing, but just because the Strait of Hormuz is going to be blocked for longer. Crypto Kid, what's going to happen? Well, I don't know. With geopolitics, it just changes every hour. There was supposed to be ceasefire talks, or there was supposed to be a deal talk taking place yesterday in Pakistan, which got canceled. Now there is word that another one will happen on Friday, but we're not certain of it. And another word saying that it's going to happen on Sunday. We don't know. Nothing is confirmed. The New York Times, Wall Street Journal, different sources say different things, but it just, most of the time it's inaccurate. So we don't know what to expect. And we're just going to have to follow along and see what really ends up being the finality. The president of Iran stated that the Islamic Republic of Iran has welcomed dialogue and agreement and continues to do so, but the fact that America is issuing a blockade gets rid of the ceasefire before it even starts, because not having a blockade was one of the original understandings of proceeding with a ceasefire. It's all strange. Like, I got to be honest with you, it's all strange. I don't know what the end goal is. I think that in the short term, President Trump is making American oil companies presumably a lot of money, because a lot of buying pressure for crude oil has pivoted from the Strait of Hormuz to America. A lot of people have started to buy from America instead of the Strait of Hormuz countries because they don't have any other option. So I'm assuming that's pretty profitable for American oil companies, but I don't know what the long-term goal is here. I thought I knew previously. I got to be honest, I have no idea anymore. So we're just hoping for the best, hoping it resolves as fast as possible, and we'll be following along and giving you the updates whenever they emerge. Kevin Warsh was another important bit that I wanted to get into. So Kevin Warsh is the appointee from President Trump to sit on the Fed chair position after Fed Chair Powell leaves, to be able to get a confirmation on becoming Fed Chair. the president can appoint, but they need to go through a congressional hearing where Congress needs to approve of this appointee going ahead and becoming the new Fed chair. So in this congressional hearing, which lasted a couple of hours, Kevin Warsh said the following. He mentioned that he will be independent from the president, which was shocking. And it's shockingly good because you want the Fed to be independent. You don't want them to be politicized. You don't want the executive branch of government having influence over monetary policy. That would weaken the trust in the dollar. So it was shocking because President Trump has said multiple times, I mean, he's given innuendos that he essentially is putting Kevin Warsh there so that he cuts rates, right? He mentioned that he would be frustrated or disappointed if Kevin Warsh were not to cut rates. Disappointed, he says, if Warsh didn't cut rates right away. That's quoted by Wall Street Journal, Reuters, and authorized. I forgot what the abbreviation for AP is. Authorized something. And then he mentioned that he's going to want to do the same thing. I think I've had times when I think you've had to really have rate hikes too, but he's very smart, very good, strong, young, pretty young. And I think he's going to do that, referring to cutting rates, so on, so forth. So there's been many innuendos that President Trump has explicitly wanted Kevin Warsh to cut rates, and you think he still obviously wants Kevin Warsh to cut rates. He wants rates to be lower in general. He said today that America should have the lowest interest rate out of all the countries in the world. But, you know, the executive branch cannot determine monetary policy. Every president would like to have lower rates because it's going to pump the economy, and pumping the economy makes people happier. Their cost of living is eased temporarily. Those pressures are eased temporarily. Stock market goes up. Happy days for everyone. And then the politician is deemed responsible for that positivity in the economy, and their polls go up. So it's good politically for a president to have lower interest rates. And that's what Warsh said too. He said that presidents tend to be for cutting rates, and that's what President Trump is demanding. But overall, Warsh made it clear that he is independent from the president and he's going to do what is necessary. So according to him, what is necessary though? Well, he is anti-quantitative easing. He's been anti-quantitative easing in his quotes from about 20 years ago. He doesn't like what the Fed did with 2021 and 2020 QE and interest rates. So what was QE and interest rates then? There was massive amounts of QE. Interest rates were almost at 0%, which is what resulted in Bitcoin going to huge highs in 2021 and altcoin season. So I don't think he's going to deliver vigorous amounts of QE and huge rate cuts like what people are anticipating. Instead, I think he's going to lower the interest rate because he did sound dovish. Short-term dovish. So I think he's going to reduce the interest rate, but not massively. And I don't think he will do it until 2027. So that's my understanding of what Kevin Warsh's sort of outlook is. And when it comes to if Kevin Warsh will ever get to be the Fed chair position, it all depends on Congress. There is currently one Congress member who could result to a delay, at least in the process, where Fed Chair Powell would remain Fed Chair for another few months. They're making the case that, okay, we will want Kevin Warsh to be Fed Chair, but you need to drop the probe that has been administered to Fed Chair Powell unjustly, they say. So if that is cleared up, then the process will be easy. Regardless, we won't see a confirmation until middle of May. So there's still some time. We want Kevin Warsh because he's pro crypto, and he seems to be a decent guy from what we understand so far. In that same hearing, Kevin Warsh was asked a question regarding digital assets by the crypto legislative champion, Senator Cynthia Lummis. And in his response, he mentioned that digital assets are already a part of the fabric of our financial services industry in the US, which is a pretty goddamn solid reply. I would say, does it have any direct benefit to crypto? No, but it's cool that these high-profile individuals with potentially a lot of power soon appreciate crypto and blockchain technology's place in this world. And that is about it from Kevin Warsh. So yeah, he sees inflation as lower than the headline number. So that's why I think in the immediate short term he will likely cut rates, but it won't be anything massive. That's just the only that's the differentiation that I would be making. The economy overall, according to the person that President Trump appointed to be in charge of the BLS, this is the bureau that collects all the statistics on labor and inflation. That same guy, who I really appreciate his economic insights, EJ Antoni, please do follow him on Twitter. He posts the best, most based stuff. According to EJ Antoni, the sharp increases in prices in Q1 that came mostly from energy costs going up, countered the increase in nominal earnings, so that inflation-adjusted median earnings were flat, meaning the increase we got over the past 5 years in earnings per capita just got completely wiped out by the cost of goods increasing from the Strait of Hormuz being blocked. So 5 years of progress completely out of the window. Cost of living crisis is back in action. This is not good, ladies and gentlemen. If you want the TLDR, it is not good for the American economy. For context, he says, we are currently seeing the lowest satisfaction of wages per individual since 2014. In between from where we are in 2026 to 2014, at some point in the middle, we were at 40-year high annual inflation rates, but still wage satisfaction was never as low as we are sitting at currently. And it goes to show, even if you have a S&P 500 at all-time highs or Bitcoin at reasonable prices, it doesn't reflect what the real person is feeling economically in a country. And I think ultimately that is the most important thing. I think it is more important than S&P 500 price action. Okay, to end off, some funny / interesting things. This one isn't. My reply is kind of funny, but what's happening isn't so funny. Justin Sun decided to open a lawsuit against World Liberty Financial for allegedly not giving him access to his tokens, which he invested roughly $75 million for. We cover this topic in detail, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But Eric Trump said his reply to Justin Sun going ahead and opening a lawsuit against them was that the only thing more ridiculous about this lawsuit was spending $6 million on a banana duct taped to a wall, and that they're incredibly proud of the World Liberty Financial team. So he refers to the banana as ridiculous, but he was also seen photographed next to Justin Sun holding that same ridiculed banana. Just an interesting thing to point out. Then I myself, in the Crypto Late Night Show, did a skit on STRC. It's a joke. I think it's a funny joke. You can go to my Twitter to check it out, or watch the full video, the full Crypto Late Night Show video. I think it's cool. I won't spoil it much more, but you can go ahead and watch it for yourself. President Trump also stated that he's been in favor of interest rates rises to stop inflation. It's the most... I think that's the craziest thing I've heard so far that just completely blows my mind away that, whatever. Okay. Anyways, and SBF lost out on a $1.9 billion profit from an investment he made into a company with $200K a couple of years ago. SBF has just been taking L's upon L's upon L's lately with these investments. His Anthropic investment went bananas. His Cursor investment went bananas. A few other things too. So if the guy hadn't mismanaged funds, he would have been the richest individual in the world today, probably. Sad for SBF. Actually, there is one more news event which I forgot to mention, and that was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent telling the Senate that they need to pass Bitcoin and crypto market structure legislation. I agree, it has to pass, but if it doesn't pass anytime soon, then we're never going to get it. If we don't get it, then it will mean less accumulation of altcoins via institutional capital. Guys and girls, thank you so much for watching. If you are looking for a place to be trading Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, make sure to check out the links to our partners in the description below. We have Levex, BTCC, and Weeks giving you the best bonuses available. Check them out if you're looking for places to trade cryptos. Guys, thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all very soon on the Crypto Late Night Show. Bye bye.